like you're in the bedroom. And then, you know, I'm the only girl in the studio, and there's like 6 dudes out, you know, on the other side of the screens. And one of them is Kellen, who I had just started dating. Right, so and it's like, okay, start running. Like, oh good, I can make running sounds. Now you're jumping. Wait, that's not, you know. And it goes on and on and on, because they need, and then you have to start on an inhale and end on an exhale, and it gets very scientific. And I was probably like beat red in the booth. Luckily, the camera on me, I think, is black and white, so they could. Well, yeah, you remember that.
They're going nuts.
So, yeah, I'm gonna try and get some more of the hands that we haven't heard from yet, and then we can circle back around. But yeah. Oh, you just do. You do. Absolutely, you're right. You definitely wear, I don't know if everyone can hear, but you definitely have days where you leave the studio just completely worn out and hoarse, and you need to go home and drink some tea. And, you can say, I mean, if you've got other gigs coming up, and you know, we do radio spots, we do. So if we've got something, we can say like, hey, is it, you know, can we take it easy today, or I'm not feeling completely 100%. And a lot of directors and engineers will work with you on that. But really, we want to get the job done.
Yeah. It hurts.
Oh, yeah.
It just hurts. Like when I'm directing Dragon Ball, I usually tell the actors when it's time for a really, really long scream. If it's someone new, which there aren't too many new people in Dragon Ball anymore, but when they were first starting to come in, people like the androids, or when we were casting Cell, my direction to them is it's really hard to talk with this thing, like when, oh man, oh god, it still works. What I would tell the actors is, here's the deal, you're gonna have to scream, and it's gonna hurt really bad, and you're gonna have to scream for a really long time, and even when you think the scream is over, you're still gonna be screaming. But here's the thing, you can either scream really, really well, or you can scream really crappy, and we have to do it twice. So it's better to do a really great scream once than a lackluster scream and then another scream. So, you know, you have to kind of learn over time too, and some actors are better at this than others. There are certain actors, like for instance, Todd Haberkorn, for instance. He's one of these guys, like, he will give you 150%, even though sometimes 100% is actually really only what we need. And that's not an insult, it's just, he pushes it so hard, sometimes he'll barely make it to the end of the session because he's thrashed his voice so much. So there's certain people, I know there's a handful of actors like Joel McDonald, who is now the cat character on Space Dandy. He's one of the actors that comes in, and I have to remind him, like, Joel, okay, Joel, screw up your voice today. We got to get you all the way through the session. So you really have to just, the techniques that you use, you just have to not scream too much from your throat, and you have to use as much breath support as you can to scream, scream with a really good, formal, full breath. I don't know how to describe it. Because if you take a shallow breath and try and scream, it comes from right here. And it's a difficult thing to explain, but...
voice teachers will tell you, like plant your feet, start from there, bend your knees, like dip into that sound that's way down low.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way I do it. That's my stage training though. That's my theater training. That I think everyone should have. We should, you know, have screaming sessions.
Oh my God. That would, yeah, I feel sorry for anybody. We do in Australia, they like to do a Kamehameha contest where they get kids to do it, and they make them do like 5 rounds of this stuff. And most of them, I see them after there's like 200 people will try and do it, and the convention center becomes a lot less loud by the end of that day. Like, because everybody's like this at the end of the day. Because they go for it. It was awesome.
Cool.
Have you actually played Borderlands 2 before?
Yeah, I played a little bit of it, but I'm terrible at first-person shooters. I'm so bad. I tried playing Portal once, and I did really well up until like level, what, is it 21 or something? I don't know. You get to the point where it gets pretty involved. So mostly what I do is I sit and I watch other people play Borderlands 2, because it's a really tough game. It's a good one.
I used to play a lot of video games, but then we had not Martha and I, but my wife and I had a kid 3 years ago. And it's so much harder to play video games when you have a child around. Because I can play Portal. Portal's easy, and I made it all the way through that. Just really violent games like Borderlands 2 is really hard to try and play, because she'll walk in and her eyes will be really wide, and just not the kind of stuff you want little tiny kids kind of seeing.
Yeah.
So my plan is to get through it. I keep starting it, and then I get interrupted. And once you guys become parents, you'll find out that you'll be exhausted all the time. So sleep is a lot better, than games sometimes.
But yeah, normally I watch, and I think it's hilarious and very fun. Yeah.
Sure, Dragon Ball, sure. I do know that he's talking about the English dub of Battle of the Gods. I figured someone would bring that up. I don't know anything about it yet, but I do know that Funimation is actively trying to make that happen. So it's good. I'm pretty sure it's going to happen. I don't know the formal details yet, and I don't know. I mean, it's still in contract negotiations, from what I've been told. I wish I knew the answers, but I'm sure that I want to dub it when it's ready. So.
Start with the camera.
Do you have a game studio or game IP that is like your dream game or studio that you want to work with?
Ooh, man.
That's a good one. I'm still learning all of them. I really am. In Dallas, there's a few I want to work with. I haven't been to Modus yet in Dallas.
Modus is a mocap studio. They do a lot of work for a lot of different game companies in Dallas.
I've got a few friends who worked there recently.
Like Valve or Blizzard or something like that?
I would love to work for Bethesda or something like that. I'd love to work on a Skyrim or something like that. It's such a deep, fun, dialogue-friendly game. I don't know. I will say I've been pretty lucky in Dallas to have worked on a lot of titles that I never imagined I would ever get to work on. I worked on the Duke Nukem title.
Sorry.
Yeah, that was a great game, wasn't it? Definitely worth the 13-year wait for. Let's see. Gosh, I would love to work on a Skyrim. I would love to work on a Mass Effect. We were lucky enough to, our studio did the sound design and for the Mass Effect movie that Funimation produced.
I did some of the Foley work on that. I'm credited as a Foley artist. That was really fun.
She wore like a football uniform, I think, and ran around the booth.
I had a leather jacket that you just ball up and just... Because all of the guys in that movie are wearing these suits and they wanted the sounds for the suits. So every time they moved, you'd have to squeeze the jacket a little bit.
Foley's really fun. You'd be surprised how fun it is, especially being a voice actor and being used to all right, I'm supposed to put my voice into something. Saying I'm going to be the voice of this guy's jacket is pretty funny. Someone can do a really great baby voice. Where's this sound coming from? You have a baby?
Oh, baby.
Awesome. $20. $20 for it. You know how much you can make for a baby? Just kidding. Did I meet you guys earlier? Are you the one with...
No, but I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Who was your favorite Dragon Ball Z character to do?
Oh man. Vegeta is my favorite character in... it's a tough choice between Vegeta and Hercule from who my favorite character is. But Vegeta is easily my favorite character. I don't know, I just love I like his transition through the series. And I've said this on panels before, I'm just not a really big Goku fan. And maybe that makes me play Vegeta even better, because I think Goku is really, really an annoying character. I don't know if maybe I'm that way because I played Vegeta, but he is definitely my favorite character. Piccolo's really a cool character to play, but he doesn't have as much of a transformation in Dragon Ball Z. In fact, some of his transformation in Z is a little bit confusing about where Piccolo's mindset is. I mean, you know, like, oh, I trained Gohan in the woods and now I'm friends, and then he gets angry at everyone all the time still, but not Gohan, but he kind of likes everyone but doesn't like everybody. And I think that kind of relates back to his character in Dragon Ball. So I don't know, I had a harder time kind of connecting with him. So yeah, Vegeta all the way, 100%.
Now that we know that you don't like Goku, can you please say Kakarot in an angry voice?
Kakarot in an angry voice! I'm sorry, baby. But he'll grow up strong now. He or she, because I can't see it.
I think he's a fan.
He's a fan.
Oh good, he's a big fan now. Train hard and abandon your parents. Make them suffer. I'm sorry, if Charles Martinet were here, he'd go, oh my gosh, what are you saying?
It's so fun. I really like signing next to him.
We got to, this is one of the perks of actually going to conventions and getting to be a guest, is that we got to go to lunch with him, and he is seriously one of the nicest people all the time.
So inquisitive by nature.
We
went to Dixie Barbecue, and he just wanted to take pictures of everything on the walls.
Have all of you been to Dixie Barbecue? I guess none of you have. Have any of you been to Dixie Barbecue?
3, 4, 5.
Wait, what? It's in your town. Actually, it's about 10 minutes.
Down the road. But yeah, did you have a question with the wonderful hat?
Oh yes, I just had a request. Could we get a over 9,000 from you?
Over 9,000 from you. Okay.
Oh come on.
We love Tennessee. We love Tennessee so much.
What did
I actually saw there's someone out there actually went.
Sorry.
That's awesome.
I just have a big Vegeta fan at home. Yeah.
Oh, you do?
Oh, yeah. He couldn't make it either. None of my friends can make it.
Those must be some great friends. What's your name?
Tommy.
Hey, Tommy's friends, you're losers. It's over 9,000! Such a relaxing voice. Such a relaxing voice. If you guys actually want to see something kind of funny that I'm sort of proud of, a lot of people ask me to say the over 9,000 thing, especially when they come up to the autograph table and stuff like that. And it's a painful thing to say. And it's also painful to say emotionally when you've said it like 15 times already that day.
When your ears are going like this.
But one of my favorite things to do is when they come and go, hey, can you say the it's over 9,000 thing? I go, the what? They go, the over 9,000 thing? They're like, okay, so what do I say again? They're like, you say, like Napa goes, Vegeta was a star set of parallel, and you say it's over 9,000. I'm like, oh, okay. They go, all right, and I'll start to say it. They go, no, wait, let me record it. And I'll go, Vegeta, what is it? No, you don't say that part. You say it. If you look like Christopher Sabat trolls on YouTube, you'll find me doing that to a lot of people, and it's so funny to see how frustrated people get when they think I don't know what they're asking me for. And if you guys ever want to know what it's like to have a phrase like it's over 9,000 in your life, have you ever watched the British TV series called Extras? It has Ricky Gervais in it. Yeah, there's an episode where these people come up to him like, do the catchphrase, and because his character has this catchphrase all the time. So please watch that and you'll understand. It's really funny. That's awesome. Genius. No, I did not know that. Now I'm gonna have to play it. I found my own reason to play League of Legends. I'm kidding. I'm joking. It's a good game. It is a good game.
It's interesting to me how I'm learning that video game writers can basically do whatever they want. They can put whatever they want in, and there's so many tributes to their own favorite games, to their own favorite things. That was really fun with working with Gearbox on this game. Was that they just sneak little things in everywhere, and sometimes you catch it, and most of the time I didn't. But yeah, that happens a lot in the gaming world.
Another company that does that a lot is a company that we work with a lot called Twisted Pixel, and they're from Austin. Yeah, they did Explosion Man, and they did a game called Comic Jumper. Have you guys played Comic Jumper? Okay, Comic Jumper. If you are fans of anime dubs, even though it's a really ridiculously hard game, try to find Comic Jumper. It's an Xbox 360 downloadable title, and it has every single, this is before I even do it, Martha, it has every single possible anime dub actor that you know plays a role in that. So it's some pretty funny writing. If the game wasn't so darn hard to play, I'd recommend it to more people. But I know you're all smart, so you'll pick it up real fast, and you'll want to throw your controller. But yeah, they are notorious for like sneaking in a lot of weird, one of the designers, like the lead game designers there, loves Arnold Schwarzenegger movies, and he constantly puts references into like every Arnold Schwarzenegger movie that's ever been made. So, and Die Hard. Whoa.
What?
Sorry.
Blowing up over here. We have another question? Yeah, Logan, right? Yay!
Besides Borderlands, what are some of your favorite video games?
Oh, good question. My all-time favorite video game is Braid. I played that last year, and I didn't need any hints. I did the whole thing all the way through, and I was really proud of myself.
Yeah.
Is that your daughter?
Yeah, sorry.
Anyway, that's my all-time favorite. I haven't played a lot since in my adult years, because I've been so busy trying to make a living. And I don't know what's out there too much. I usually have people help me. That's kind of how I do it. So Braid was my favorite one recently. But I used to play the old Game Boys all the time, man. Who had one of the first Game Boys? Yeah.
Yep. And they were playing it, like, ironically, too.
We had what was the code thing, that giant black code Game Shark thing?
Oh, yeah.
It was huge. It weighed like 5 pounds.
It was the game Save Brick. My favorite game that I'm gonna have to say Red Dead Redemption might be my favorite game of all time. That game was nearly perfect. Had the best soundtrack, fantastic voice acting, and I never imagined I'd play a game where I actually enjoyed just riding a horse around, picking flowers. If anyone ever said I'd be doing that in a game, I'd be like, you're an idiot. I would never do that. But there was a time when my wife was on her iPad with a giant map as to where I'll find all the different types of flowers so I could get the achievements. Just riding a horse around, picking flowers like a cowboy, shooting bad guys. Anyway.
These are funny together. That's why it works.
Adore that game. Have you all played that, right? Every single one of you. If not, go home and play it right now. After our panel. There's other questions. I see Goggles Girl has her hands up. Do you have a question about Vocaloid? I know everything about it.
I really like to hear.
Vocaloid's from Japan.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
I was curious to know. You had mentioned, how you trolled fans. I want to know, are there any of your friends or coworkers or stuff that you would troll as far as voice acting goes, like prank calling or anything?
Oh God, that's all I do to people half the time. Everyone knows around me to keep their Facebooks and their Twitters locked up.
Yeah, where's my phone?
Yeah, people get that real nervous feeling when they can't find their phone and I'm anywhere nearby them.
Yeah. And we should.
I'd say one of my favorite pranks I ever played was on Sean Schimmel, the voice of Goku. Because Sean's this type of guy, he's very opinionated, he can be extremely picky about the way things have to go. And like I'm trying to use polite words, but he doesn't like to check into hotels and give us credit card to anyone. He doesn't trust anyone with his credit card. So whenever I would fly him in for Dragon Ball recordings, this was a couple years ago, to make it easier, I would just go and check him into his hotel, get him a key, and leave the key for him under his name, right? Except he didn't realize that in doing so, that meant that I was checking into the hotel room under my name and giving him a key as a secondary guest. Which meant I also got a key to his room. So when he came in to record, I sent some people to his hotel room and my instructions were very clear. I'm like, I want you to what's called a gas lamp him. And I'm not going to explain the term, but it basically means do very subtle things that aren't extremely obvious to make someone think they may be going crazy. Like just slightly rearrange things. So they went into his room while he was recording, and he brought his karate gi or something like that. So they folded it perfectly and wrapped it in a rubber band and put it back in his backpack. And knowing all of his stuff, he's never folded anything in his life. So this was very odd. They removed his toothbrush and replaced it with a different one. He had this stack of DVDs and they like wrapped one of them in plastic. In a pile of underwear that he had on the floor, they dropped some hand sanitizer, and then the coup de grace was that they put a kazoo in his pocket of a pair of pants that were crumpled up on the floor. So, knowing they'd done all this stuff, I called Sean in the next day for pickups, which usually is, you know, when you just call him in to get additional lines or lines you forgot or lines you want to get again. There weren't any. I just wanted to call him in because I knew something, like he was going to have a story. And sure enough, he walks in and goes, Chris, oh my God, you're not going to believe what happened. Someone must have snuck into my room and put a kazoo in my pants. I was like, come on, no one sneaks into people's rooms and puts a kazoo in their pants. It's like, no, seriously, someone put a kazoo in my pants. I'm like, are you sure it wasn't yours? Like, no, I haven't played the kazoo since 1973. Like, interesting you remember the last time you played a kazoo down to the date. And then he goes, well, I mean, unless it was you, which, I mean, anyone who knows me would just assume it was me anyway. But I was like, Sean, how could I have done that? We were working yesterday, so there's no way I could have done that. So then he just went back into it. So I'm basically thinking that it might be this person at the front desk, because when I was checking in, there's a person working at the snack bar that kind of looked at me weird. I think she might have known I was Goku, and it was either that or one of the housekeeping staff. It might have been the housekeeping staff. So he didn't mention any of the other stuff. Oh, and then he did mention the karate gi. So he's like, I think it was housekeeping. So I'm going to call down to the front desk and find out who it is, because I just want to find out who the housekeeper was to my room. Knowing that he was going to do this, I immediately called from my cell phone to the front desk, and I'm like, hi, this is Chris Sabat. I am checked into room 330. My friend Sean is staying in there too. Just FYI, he kind of is a little crazy, and he sort of makes things up in his head. So he might call and just say some weird stuff to you, like there was just anything. But just don't, whatever you do, listen to him, but don't let him talk to anyone like in housekeeping or anything like that. So it drove him insane. He ended up like writing a note in Spanish, like forwarded it, and then flipped it to the other side. So he had to listen to the entire, and the back of it was just some boring college lecture that my brother had recorded. And he didn't, and I ended up sneaking that into his backpack into a front pocket that you wouldn't normally check. And he found that 3 months later. I knew it! It continued, I'm pretty sure it was housekeeping now. Because there's a cassette recorder, and it says the kazoo is, I found someone who speaks Spanish, and I played it for him, and they said that the kazoo is everywhere, I'm sorry, and like, it's brilliant. And, you know, and we had plans to keep going with this prank. Like, we had already printed out all the pictures from the first time of all the stuff that we'd done to him, and we were going to tack them up on the wall in his room with like yarn connecting all of them. So, like, some sort of cop trying to figure out the serial killer's pattern. And we would have done it had not someone on Twitter heard me talk about this, because I used to tell people and then tell them, don't ever tell Sean, but somebody told him.
Who did it?
I don't know who did it, but I don't like them very much.
It wasn't me.
It wasn't you, thank goodness.
That's a great story.
Sorry, that's a long story, but it's my favorite
Now
prank
you
of all
can't
time.
tell that in your panel tomorrow.
Yep, great. I have other pranks. It's 5:57, y'all. We got time for 3 more questions, as long as they're a minute apiece.
All right, we're gonna take questions from people we haven't heard from yet. I think we haven't heard from you yet.
My question is for you, Martha.
Yeah.
When you were getting rolled for Borderlands 2 and Maya and everything, was that something that you heard about and auditioned for, or was that something like maybe an agent pushed you to do?
That's something my agent, his question was to audition for the role of Maya. Did I hear about it, or did an agent send me? Chris and I had the same agent, actually, the Mary Collins Agency in Dallas.
They're awesome.
They're fantastic, arguably the best in the world. And they sent me to the audition. When I got to the audition, they didn't have, all they had was a sketch of what Maya might look like in a description. And so that's what I had to go by. So Eric Bale worked a lot. They kind of wanted at first kind of a flatter sound, a little bit. She was just very, very calm, a very soothing voice for Maya. And then later on, what they wanted was a little bit harder, and so they tried to get a little bit more grit out of her, kind of thing. But she's still really level-headed, very cool, the way she delivers her lines. So, and that just developed and developed over time. I actually lost the role at one point. They decided to try someone else for a time, and then they brought me back.
I don't remember that.
It was Alexis.
I do remember
It was
that.
Alexis. And so they didn't really know what they wanted, and that's the hardest part, especially when they're designing a game.
I think the concern too with the only reason they started second guessing it is because Colleen Klinkenbeard was already playing 2 roles, and if anyone sounds kind of like Colleen Klinkenbeard, it's you. Just a low,
Thank you.
awesome voice.
Oh my god.
So yeah, I think that might have been part of the reasoning.
Yeah, probably.
Whenever we do auditions, typically we send them out to the agencies or to the trusted people that we know that we work with that don't have agents and stuff like that. So that's how it works, typically. Or we just cast it and we just say, you're coming in to record this for us Thursday. Be ready to hurt.
I mean, sometimes you just have to move that fast a lot of times.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but that Alexis you mentioned, was her last name Tipton?
Yeah, Alexis Tipton.
Okay, I know her.
Yeah, gosh, she's so sweet.
Such a jerk.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, if you see her, say, Chris Sabat said you're kind of a jerk. Actually, she would genuinely cry, so don't say that.
Got it.
She's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, does anybody have any more questions that hasn't asked one yet?
Ancient RoboCop had one.
My favorite color?
Go ahead.
Oh, my favorite color.
What?
Wow.
You haven't thought about this in a
I
while.
really haven't thought about it. I like yellow.
Yellow, come on. My favorite color is what my least favorite color used to be, and it's green. I like green.
You used to hate green.
I used to hate green.
Wow.
Because didn't any of you, like how many of you guys were given your first car by your parents and it was like the ugliest, most nasty thing you've ever seen? That's what happened to me. I hated that car. It was a green car. And now, the weird irony of it is that I would do anything to go back and have a mint condition Datsun B210 hatchback. It was the ugliest car ever. It was green with like brown racing stripes. And I remember as a kid thinking like, when we would drive home from the mall, on the interstate from the mall to our house, sometimes we'd meet my dad on his way home from work, and then we'd be with my mom. We'd be in the van, and he'd be in the Datsun, and he'd drive on this like on the feeder road on the side, and we'd be on the highway. And it always was amazing me, like, how is it possible that the van is faster than that Datsun? I mean, it has racing stripes on it. I was really convinced that because the car had racing stripes, it was supposed to be faster. I don't know. I don't believe that now. Yes, your question.
Was the car a happy green or was it like a green?
It was a so-so green. It was a stupid green.
Like Skittle green?
It was like this, like Kermit green. No, not Kermit, like dead Kermit green. Like if Kermit died and his body rotted a little bit, that's what the color of this car would be like.
This is so going on YouTube.
Actually, I want to, like, who's right after us? What panel's right after this?
Cosplay contest?
Cosplay contest?
Great.
There's one more question.
Do you guys have any upcoming projects that you're working on that you can talk about with us? Just like, or drop any hints with them?
I'll be on an episode of Space
Dandy.
Thank you, Space Dandy. What? Space. I'm sorry. We do. You know.
In her defense, a week at Funimation, like work at Funimation, usually is like someone contacts you really quickly. You're up. You don't even know what you're going to record sometimes until you get there, and they're like, "Oh, you're on Space Dandy. What is it?" And then they kind of give you a brief synopsis. And then, I mean, sometimes they don't even have time to give you a brief synopsis. They'll say, just screw it. In this episode, you're a cop, go.
True, that's most sessions of Funimation. To be fair, I think that they're in their 8th or 9th week of running it. I was just in a play, so for the last 8 or 9 weeks, I was completely out of the world. And then, on top of that, what was I going to say? I don't even remember. Basically what he said. But anyway, so I'm in Space Dandy, which is coming on like 5 weeks. It's the episode with all the different like machines are talking and
they won't know because it's a simulcast anyway, right? So none of you all know what it's going to be, right?
No one, I don't think it is.
No one in the world knows.
But if you, I'm a friend of a coffee maker. I'm a coffee grinder in that one. So you can hear my voice. On Saturday nights, I think it is.
Guys, thank you for making Martha Harm's first panel at an anime convention the best panel ever. Hey, look. It's Charles Martinet trying to FaceTime us.
Hey!
Let's see what he's going to say.
It's me! Charles!
Hey! I think he must have... Hey, Charles! Oh, now we're paused. He paused us. Yeah, you just phoned me. Yeah, you just pocket dialed. Yeah, we're FaceTiming and I'm on a panel. Yeah, well...
Turn it towards us!
It's like a miniature version of you.
Hey!
Hey! Oh, say that again, sorry?
Hello, everybody!
Just wrapping up our panel. They've gotten really bored of us, so we're gonna split now. We'll see you in a minute. Bye. Seriously, so nice. This has been a great con so far. I hope you all are enjoying it too. Thanks very much. Tomorrow, we have our individual panels. Yours is
Mine's at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Mine's at noon, and then we'll be doing panels right after that. I mean, signings right after that. We're technically supposed to go to something right after this, but find me and let's see if I can do that for you.
Thanks, you guys.